Good morning. Welcome to Zoho Meeting webinar. Today, we are going to see a complete overview of online meeting. I hope I'm audible to everyone. You can confirm it over Q&A and by reacting with thumbs up or thumbs down emoji. Before we get started, please note that this webinar is being recorded and we'll also be sharing the recording. As an introduction about myself, I am Abdul Hannan from Zoho Meeting Support and I will be the presenter for today's session. I have an experience of about 2.5 years in Zoho Meeting. So let's see an agenda for today's meeting. So I'm going to start with a brief introduction about Zoho Meeting and how to conduct meeting sessions. Followed by this, we will see real-time scenarios based on meeting, and we'll learn how to set up and manage your accounts along with integrations. And if you have any questions during this session, you can raise it over Q&A. We have dedicated Q&A experts who shall address your questions. So let's see a few of the system requirements of Zoho Meeting. So Zoho Meeting is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux operating system. For hardware, you can use built-in, plugged-in wireless speaker and microphone. And if you're connecting to a video session, you can use your system web camera. And you can start and join sessions from anywhere using our Android and iOS mobile applications. So now why Zoho Meeting? An online meeting is a collaborative session with real-time audio, video, and screen sharing. You can initiate and join meetings from anywhere and collaborate effectively with moderator controls. So now let's see it in action. So you can navigate to meeting.zoho.com instant meeting sessions and to schedule a meeting for later. So now to start an instant meeting session on Zoho Meeting, you can click on the Meet Now option. You have two conferencings available, which is audio and video conferencing. So I'm going to start a video conferencing and I will show how the presenter screen looks like. So when you click on video conferencing, it will take you to the presenter screen. This is how the presenter screen will look like. As it is an instant meeting here, you can rename the title of the meeting before inviting any participant. So to now invite any participants to your meeting session, you need not to go back to the meeting window. On the same screen itself, you can click on the invite option. Here you have an option to copy the link and which you can share with your participant. You can copy the invitation and you can share with your participants. If you want to invite directly via email, you can input the participant email address and send an invite to them directly. Or if you want to provide them with a meeting ID and password, you can hover over the information icon here, provide the meeting ID and a password. So now I'm going to join as a participant and I will show how the participant screen looks like. So using the web browser, the participants can simply paste the join link and they can join the session easily. So once we enter the participant link, all they need to provide is the name and they can join the session. There are two ways they can join the session. One is by using the phone audio and the computer audio. So for this session, I'm joining with computer audio. So this is how the participant screen looks like. Now going back to the presenter screen, you have an option to view the list of participants. You can also filter out and you can find out from which device the participants are joining from. You can view all participants details and if you click on more options right next to the participant name, you have a pin video feed option here. You can pin up to 8 video feeds. So if the video feed is pinned, you can highlight the speakers among your participants. And when the presenter is sharing the screen and if you want to give control of your screen to your participant, you can use this feature. It is available when the presenter is sharing the screen through the desktop application. You can rename the participant from here and also you can remove the participant. Let's say if you have some another meeting coming up and if you want to jump on to another meeting without ending this session, in this case, you can promote any participant as a co-host and you can leave the session without ending it. So once the participant is promoted as a co-host, they will have the same moderator control as the host. And after the meeting, the co-host can end the session. And right next to the participant name, you have an option to request to unmute. And as a host, you have an option to mute all the participants. And for more moderator controls, you can click on more options here and you have an option to request all to unmute, play entry and exit sound, allow participants to share their screen and unmute themselves. Next we have is the chat section. This chat is an integration with Zoho Click. Here you can engage with your participant in the form of text messages. So you can send messages here and the participants will receive the message and they can respond to it, and they can also send the messages from this chat window. Not just text messages, the participants can also react with using emojis and can send audio messages. You also have an option to send attachments, and you can send up to 1 GB of file size. Next we have is the meeting notes option. The meeting notes is an integration with the Zoho Notebook. So here you can take a note of your important discussion which you have during the meeting session in the form of notes. And if you had previous meetings and if you want to refer to the notes of your previous meeting session, you can use this option here and you can select past meeting to view the details of your previous meeting notes. And if you want to go to a specific meeting note and to refer it, you can use the all notes option. All the notes on your account will be displayed and you can select the notes for your reference. And to take a very quick note, you can also apply the template here and you can type the agenda for the meeting. And you can discuss the ideas and the solutions in the form of notes. These notes will be saved on your account and it will be available once the meeting is ended. Next we have is the polls option. So if you want to gather feedback from the participants or if you want to ask any questions with the participants in the form of polls, you can add a poll here. You can create a question. I'm going to ask feedback from the participants. So I'm creating a feedback question with the answer type as star rating. And you can create a poll easily. So these polls can be created in the form of single choice answer type and multiple choice answer type. As per your preference, you can create a poll. So when you launch the poll will be displayed on the participant screen like this. And once the participant respond to the poll, their response will be recorded and it will be visible on the host screen. Now as a host, you have an option to publish the result to all the participants or you can keep it for your reference. So this is how poll works. So moving on, next we have is the toolbar option. This toolbar is drag and droppable anywhere. You can also lock the toolbar from settings. So here you can view the duration of your meeting session. And here you can unmute yourself, your video and audio feeds. And using the share option, you can share your screen. For screen sharing, we have an option to share the entire screen, particular window or particular Chrome tab alone. Based on your preference and selection, the screen will be shared with the participants. We also have a feature called share files. If you have any PDF file, video file, and presentation file, you can upload the file under the Files tab on Zoho Meeting and you can present it during this session. The selected file will be shared with your participant and this you can do it without doing a screen share. We also have an option to share files using the work drive. So if you have uploaded the files already on your work drive, you can select the files from work drive and share it directly without being uploading to Zoho Meeting. All the uploaded files will be available here. This is particularly useful to share video files during this session so that audio will also be played. On the toolbar, we have also provided the participants option chat section. We also have an option for reactions. If any participant is on mute and if they want to react it, they can use the reactions here. All the emojis are provided. It will be appearing on their video feed. We also have an option of raise hand. If participant wants to reach to the host, they can raise their hand. Your notification will be received to the host and on the participant list. it will indicate that this participant has reached and have some clarification. You can reach out to the participant. Next, we have is the settings option. Under settings, we have provided the meeting notes and lock meeting option. So if you want to have a more secure, you can lock your meeting session. So if the meeting is logged, when you invite any participant, the participant will not be allowed to join session unless it is approved. So I have logged the meeting now. Let me join as a participant and I will show how it looks. So as you can see here, the participant cannot join meetings automatically because it is logged. So on the host screen, it will show a prompt whether you want to accept or reject this participant. Based on your approval, the participant will be joining the meeting session. Next we have is the start recording option. So either you can set all your sessions to auto record as soon as you start the meeting sessions, or else you can record it manually. So have an option to pause and resume the recording. As soon as you start the recording, a recording consent will be displayed on the participant screen. Based on their consent, they can join or leave the meeting session. So here as a host, you have an option to pause and stop the recording and you can resume it. So this is useful if you want to record only some particular portions of meeting alone, then you can use this feature. We also have a full screen option and you can change the layout for tile view to active speaker view, sidebar view and top bar view. This is a preference settings. This is also applicable for the participant. They can also choose it and select according to their preference. So coming back to the host screen. Next we have is the settings option where you can configure your audio and video devices. So let's say in between this session, you're changing your microphone and the speakers. If you want to change it, you can select your input devices here. All the devices connected to your operating system will be listed here. And you can pick it from this list. And in case of network fluctuations, and if your bandwidth is too low, you can also opt for phone audio and you can use this dial-in number. You can call the number, enter the access code and PIN to join the meeting session. For video configuration, by default, it will pick up this chosen web camera connected to your device. If you are connecting any external web camera, you can also pick it from this list. You also have an option to mirror your video. Next we have is the background option. So here you can choose your custom background. You choose the virtual background for your meeting video feed. So you have an option to blur your video feed, select predefined images and effects. You also have an option to upload the custom image. These images will be uploaded in your video feed in the form of virtual background. We have an integration with Rev AI using which you can generate live transcript for your ongoing meeting session. If the integration is enabled, a live transcription setting will be enabled from which you can enable the transcription. And here you can customize the fonts, color, size, and background color of your transcription. Under preferences, we have provided settings for host control, notification, layout, and other settings. As you saw, the toolbar is drag and droppable. You can also lock the toolbar here by enabling always show meeting control toolbar. And you can view your network performance from this tab. So these are the basic settings which is provided inside the meeting sessions page. So now let's see if you have the scenarios in Zoho Meeting. So now, is there a way for you to highlight or annotate while presenting in the meeting session? Yes, we have that option. When you click on share option here, you can click on the whiteboard. Using the whiteboard, you can engage with the participant and collaborate. So once you launch the whiteboard, both the host and the participant will have an option of pen, marker. You can also insert shape insert text, and images. Likewise, on the participant screen as well, they will have an option to engage simultaneously. This is how effectively you can annotate using the whiteboard. And as a participant, they can download the whiteboard. As a host, you can download and you can also erase the whiteboard. So now the next scenario is, what is picture in Zoho Meeting and how you can enable it. So let's say you're doing a screen share and you want to view the video feed of your participant without coming to the main meeting page. This can be achieved using this picture in picture option. If you click on more option in the settings, you have an option to enable picture in picture. When this is enabled, your feed tile will be enabled here. If you move across to a different page, this picture in picture tile will be visible from where you can view the active video feeds of your participants. From this picture in picture itself, you can mute and unmute yourself. You can also go back to the home screen of your meeting and you can end this session directly from here. So this is how picture in picture will be useful to view the video feed when you are doing a screen share. Now the next scenario is how you can download the chat transcript and note transcript after the meeting. So once the meeting is ended, you can view the chat transcript, notes, polls, whiteboard from the end session page itself. And participant can also view and download from the end session page itself as they will not have an account. Now let's see how to schedule a meeting for later purpose. So going back to the home screen of your meeting, you have an option to schedule a meeting. So when you click on schedule a meeting, the first thing you need to give is the title. And you can select your meeting type, whether you want to go with audio conferencing or video conferencing. This can also be switched during the meeting session. And you can pick a date and time when you want to have it and how long the duration you want to set. And you can specify the duration. By default, it will pick up the duration which is provided in the settings. If you're scheduling for a different time zone, you can pick the time zone from this list. All the available time zones are mentioned here. And to invite any participant, you can use this participant tab and you can input their email address and you can send an invite directly. But if you want to upload your contact and if you want the participant email address to auto populate and auto suggest for your upcoming meetings sessions which you're going to schedule, you can achieve this by visiting to contacts.zoho.com. So here you can upload the contact of your participants. So you also have an option to export and import. Using the import option, if you have a CSV file or a VCF file as a local format, you can upload the file here and the uploaded contact will auto suggest for your upcoming meeting sessions from where you can easily pick and invite participants. You can also import the contacts from Google and Microsoft account. And you can give a brief agenda for your meeting session. This agenda will be sent in the meeting invite to the participant and then you can schedule it. This is how easily you can quickly schedule a meeting session. Now the next scenario is how you can create recurring meetings and add additional hosts to your meeting session. So on the same schedule page, if you click on more options, you have an option to select recurring meeting. So if you want your meeting to repeat on daily basis, weekly or monthly, you can select the frequency. If you're choosing a weekly, select the days on how many days you want to repeat, on which days you want to repeat, and then you can schedule it. So meeting will be recurring and you also have an option to set reminder. You can set up multiple reminders and participants can easily join the recurring sessions using the same link. And to add additional co-hosts to a meeting session, you can invite any organization users to be a co-host. This will be useful. If host is absent for meeting session, the co-host can start the meeting session. And co-host will have all the controls same as the host as we saw during the live meeting session. And for the session files, as we saw, you can share the video files, PDF files, and PPT without doing a screen share using share material. Those files can be attached from here on the session file option. You can upload the file from your computer, or if all the files which you have uploaded already will be available under My Files section. And as we discussed, if you have a work drive account and files are uploaded to your work drive, then you can pick this file from your work drive itself and you can share it without uploading to your My Files. So let me schedule this meeting. So here you can find the details of your meeting which you have scheduled. So on the details page, you have an option to add to calendar. An ICS file will be downloaded through which you can add to your preferred calendar. And if you want to invite any participant manually by copying the link or invitation, you can copy the link from here and you can copy the invitation by clicking on view invitation option. And from this details page, you can start the meeting. You can edit the meeting if you want to change the title of your meeting or change the date and time of your already scheduled meeting session. Or if you want to invite additional participants to your meeting session, you can click on edit and you can input the details. And if you want to cancel the meeting completely, you can click on the cancel option from here. We also have an option of embed widget. So using this feature, you can embed the meeting details to your website itself and participant can come across to your website and join the session from your website. So now let's see another scenario. How you can view the details of your previous meeting session. So to view the details of your meetings, so you can click on the meetings tab. Here you can find the list of your upcoming meetings as well as past meetings. So to view the details of your past meeting session, from here you can find it. All the sessions which you have scheduled and ended, it will be available here. And for the respective meeting, you can find the notes associated, chat transcript, and you can also view whiteboard polls from here. If you want to repeat the same meeting with same participant on a different date and time, you can select the repeat option and you can schedule it very quickly. We also have an option of files here. Here is where you can find the recordings of your meeting session. So here, all the sessions which are recorded will be available. And you can click on the share option to share the recording. And for a recording link, we have a few privacy settings available. If you want the recording link not to be accessed by anyone except to the host and admins alone, you can select do not share with anyone. Or if you want it should be accessible anyone within your organization, you can select anyone in your organization. If you're sharing the link with external participant and if you want them to access the recording link, you can select anyone with the link option. You also have an option to set allow to download the recording. And if you want only the attendees to alone to download the recording, you can enable this option. Under more options, you have an option to play the recording directly from here. You can download and delete recording to manage space from here. And you can also view transcripts of your recorded meeting sessions. All the files uploaded in your organizations will be available here. And if you want to upload file directly without want to upload the file on the session materials, you can upload it beforehand here itself. These files will be available for all your meeting sessions and you can share it easily. So now how you can export the data of meeting hosted by your organization users. So on the home screen, we have an option of analytics through which you can generate meeting reports. You can generate report of a session count, session duration, and session history. So to want to download the, if you want to download the report of any host of your organization, if you want to know the details, you can select the respective host and you can select the frequency and you can pick the meetings here. From the export option, you can export the report in the form of Excel and CSV. On the meeting reports, you will find the participant details, the participant role, from which device they have joined in, and what time they logged in and what time they logged out, and how long they stayed in a meeting session. These details will be available. for all the users present in your organization. So now, is there a way for you to make business calls within Zoho Meeting? So let's say you have a schedule a meeting and a few of the participants have already joined and you're waiting for a specific participant to attend your meeting session. So to remind the participant to join your meeting session, you can use this calls feature within Zoho Meeting. This calls is an integration with Zoho Voice from which you can make and receive calls. So using the dialer option provided here, you can enter the number and call the participant directly and remind them to join the meeting session. The dashboard is available for you to track the incoming and outgoing calls and missed calls. You can also find the logs here. And if you want to send an SMS, you can achieve it through the SMS tab. So this is an integration with Zoho Voice. So next scenario is, what is Zoho Meeting Rooms and how the setup works? So recently we have released the Zoho Meeting Rooms feature through which you can collaborate effectively with remote participants in a physical meeting room. So on the rooms management, so you can click on add a room option here and you can provide your room name and a short description about the room and you can save it. So once you configure your room, an activation key and password will be generated. Through the download center, you can download the controller application available for iOS devices for iPad and iPhone. And you can install the Zoho Meeting Rooms display application for Mac and Windows on the display available in your physical conference room. And you can engage with remote participants or participants present within the rooms through this Zoho Meeting Rooms feature. This will make your collaboration with remote participants and participants present inside the room with more efficient. So you can attend and conduct meetings from anywhere using our iOS application available in App Store. And for Android, you can download the Zoho Meeting application, which is available in Play Store. So now let's see the settings part of Zoho Meeting. I'll start with the user-based setting, which is initial settings, and we'll learn about organization settings, how to manage users, and we'll learn about security and privacy. So going back to the home screen, under settings, you will find the My Settings, which is available for users present in your organization as a member, as well as organization settings. Let me start with the My Settings option. So under My Settings, you have an option to configure your personal information. You can set your local information, you can set language and time format, time zone as per your preference. And if you want all your events to be added to your Google Calendar by default, you can enable this setting. But if your email client is Gmail already, then you can disable this option. So it will be automatically synced. For all your meeting sessions, if you want to enable virtual background and have an option to enable a virtual background, then enable this virtual background option. Under general settings, you can configure the notification settings. And you also have an option to set default dial-in number, which gets sent in the meeting invite. You can select the country from here and the chosen country dial-in number will be sent in the meeting invite to the participants so they can join via dial-in numbers. As a moderator control, you also have an option to restrict the microphone when the participant is joining this session. If you are expecting a large number of participants in your meeting session, you have an option to restrict microphone access for all participants as soon as they join the session. So they will join in muted state. Or if you want to restrict from specific number of participants, you can start with 6 and we can go up to 15th participant. And if you're sharing images in your meeting session, you can go with the JPEG of screen share format. And if you're sharing any presentation and higher resolution content, you can select the WebRTC format. And if the Revia is enabled, you can enable a live transcription for meeting. We have also released this end of session notification where you can remind participant that meeting will be ended in specific duration. And during the meeting session, you can also snooze this timer. Under general settings for users, we have recording options where they can enable auto recordings and record meetings video. You also have an option to enable auto transcription for meeting recordings. So moving on to the organization settings. So here is where you will see the major features. So here you can change the organization logo. From Zoho Meeting, you can upload your own company logo. And if you want to change the company name, you can click on the edit option and provide the company name from here. You also have an option to change super admin. You can promote anyone from your organization as a super admin if they are an admin from here. Under general settings, we have an option of camera sharing. If you want all your meeting sessions to be audio only, if you do not want any users to enable their video feed, then you can disable this option. If you want both audio and video sessions, then you can enable camera sharing. And generally, meetings will not be ended unless and until host or co-host ends this session, and meetings can go up to 24 hours. If you want to extend beyond 24 hours, then you can extend session timeout by enabling this option. And if you do not want us to enable any optimizations or echo cancellation on our end, you can enable use original audio options. So we will not do any optimization. So under meeting settings, we have an option to automatically lock meetings. As we saw that you can manually lock meetings during your ongoing meeting session. You also have an option to automatically lock. So if this is locked by default, all the meeting sessions conducted in your organization will be locked and the participant cannot join without host approval. For screen sharing, you can set the moderation control for your entire organization, whether you want to allow all participants to share the screen or participants with host approval or only the host. You can also provide your preferred audio type with the participants. If you want to provide them with both computer audio and phone audio option, then select both. Or if you want to provide only with computer audio or phone audio option, you can select accordingly. You have an option to set aspect ratio for your video feed. You can go with either 16:9 or 4:3. Next we have is the custom domain option. This is an important feature. Using this feature, you can white label the URL from meeting.zoho.com to meeting.yourcompanyname.com. If you have your own domain and if you want your domain name to be included in the meeting invite and meeting link as including along with the logo, then you can initiate custom domain. As soon as it is certified, your meeting URL will be white labeled and it will have meeting.yourcompanyname.com. Under recordings, as it is an organization setting, we have advanced recording settings available. So here you can include the timestamp in the recorded video, show active speaker indicator, display participant name in meeting recordings, and display muted video feeds in the recordings. You also have an option to set recording layout. Here you can set only the active speakers with shared screen, or if you want all the video feeds to be recorded along with the screen sharing, select this option. By default for your organization, if you want only the screen sharing alone to be recorded, then select this option. And we have an option for enabling automatic recording setting for your entire organization users. And you can also lock or unlock it. So what it means is if this setting is locked, the users present in your organization cannot disable this setting. And by default, all their meeting sessions will be recorded. We have more advanced settings available from where you can prevent host from accessing their recording, meaning only the admin users can access the recording, and prevent cloud sharing and recording download. You can also restrict host from deleting their own recordings. By default, if you want transcript to be generated for your meeting recordings, you can enable this option. Moving on, next we have is the user management. So here is where you can manage the users, add or remove users from your organization. So to add or remove users, you can click on the add users option, enter their username, email address, and to which department you want to add and set a role for them. You can set administrator role or member role. So the difference is if you're promoting them as administrator, they will have all the settings available in the organization as well as meeting sessions scheduled as well as recordings. If they are a member, they will have access to only their settings alone and their scheduled meetings and recordings. That's the major difference. If you want to add multiple users altogether, you can select multiple users, enter multiple email address separated by commas and add it. We also have department option here. So if you have a big organization and if you want to have meetings in a more organized way, you can create multiple departments and add users to respective department. So let's say I have created a department in the name of human resource and I have added few users within this department. So the advantage is, so you can have meetings in organized way. Along with that, if you want the users not to have administrator control for organization, you can give them access only within the department. So if you're promoting any users as a department admin, so they will have access to only the session scheduled and recordings within the department, not to the entire organization. This is how you can manage effectively with the users present in the department. And you also have an option to restrict recording. If you do not want to allow the recording access for department admin, then you can enable or disable this option from here as per your preference. Moving on, next we have is the email section. So by default, the invites will be sent from no reply at zohomeeting.com. But if you do not want that, if you want to send it from host email address, then you can select the host email address option from here. Or if you want to send it from a custom email address, you can input the custom email address and verify the email address so that the emails will be sent from the custom added email address. Similarly, you can configure the reply to email address. So if any participant replies to the invitation, either it should receive to the host email or to a custom email. So if you are adding any custom email address, you need to add the domain and verify the domain. So if the domain is verified, this ensures that the invitation will land on inbox rather than on spam or junk folders. Next we have is the security. So here you can check your privacy settings. You can learn more about right to erasure and you can automatically anonymize your personal data by enabling this option. And if you want to view the logs of your organization users, like if any setting is configured and if someone has changed any settings, you can view these details from here. And you can also use the filter option and you can filter out based on the users, categories, duration, and departments. All these details can also be exported as a CSV format. You also have an option to set up your data cleanup. So here you can set up never cleanup session reports and recording, or if you want to erase session reports and recordings from the backend, you can specify the duration here. And as per your specified duration, the recordings and reports will be automatically deleted. And from the payments tab, you can upgrade or downgrade your subscriptions. So now let's see next scenario. So we also have integrations within Zoho applications as well as you can use it API. So I'll show how it works. So under the integrations, you have applications, the in-house applications like Zoho CRM, Zoho Click, Zoho Projects, Zoho Mail. You can integrate Zoho Meeting among the Zoho applications and you can initiate meetings directly from CRM and Zoho Mail. So what the advantage is, they need not to come to meeting.zoho.com to schedule meetings. Through the integrated application itself, they can schedule meeting and start meeting sessions. We also have an integration with Zia. This is an integration with OpenAI. So if meeting is integrated with Zia, so for your transcripts, you can generate keynotes and summary. And as we discussed about RevAI, from here you can enable the RevAI integration so that you can have live transcript for your meeting sessions. And calls can be integrated with Zoho Voice. If this is enabled, the calls options can be used within Zoho Meeting from here as we saw. And if you want to receive reminders for your Zoho Meeting through Click, you can install the Zoho Click integration. We also have an add-on available for Outlook, and you can also install Zoho Meeting extension or Microsoft Teams to start meetings directly from Microsoft Teams itself. And one more integration is with Zoho Bookings. So using this Zoho Bookings integration with Zoho Bookings, you can generate an appointment link and you can share with your participant. So if any participant wants to book a meeting based on your calendar, This can be achieved through this integration. And if you have your own website, you can integrate Zoho Meeting through API. So through the API documentation, the details are provided here from which you can authenticate your client application. And once you integrate your platform within the Zoho Meeting using API, you can create meeting, list meeting, edit and delete through the API. So what is in the pipeline? So you can expect the breakout rooms feature, the email customization for meeting, an option to bulk download of recordings and contacts and groups in the upcoming updates. So if you have any questions now, you can raise it over Q&A. We have our panelist who will respond to your questions. Meanwhile, let's also see some of the frequently asked questions in Zoho Meeting. So how secure is Zoho Meeting? So Zoho Meeting is absolutely safe and secure. So we use SSL 256-bit AES encryption protocol, which is industry standard practice. And this is same protocol being used in online banking and payment transactions. How many participants do we support in Zoho Meeting? So currently we scale up to 250 participants in our online meeting solutions. So is there a time limit for a free plan and how many participants are allowed? Yes, we do have a free plan and you can have up to 100 participants and you can conduct sessions for as long as up to 60 minutes with limited features in free edition of Zoho Meeting. So you can spread the word, share your experience in social platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. You can use the hashtag Zoho Meeting. So I'm going to start a survey. On your